Michigan Football Report, home edition. I'm doing these at home so I can go to my son's sporting events a little bit here on Saturday in October. We'll be back in the studio with live shows in the next couple of weeks here. But Wolverines win 52-7, folks, an absolute domination. After a really rough first quarter, Michigan scores 52 points after giving up 7 early on a little trick play, a little side pass, double pass from Indiana that beat Michigan deep. Michigan scores 52 straight. And I like the fact that they didn't give up a touchdown on that last drive for Indiana. It looked like they had a touchdown. The Hoosiers was called back, and then Michigan held tight and gets out of there with only giving up 7 points instead of 14, which they had put on the board at one point. Keeps that Michigan, scoring average down below there, down below 7 points per game. J.J. McCarthy was the story of the day, folks. Michigan scores in 8 straight drives after struggling in the first quarter. So go ahead and comment Heisman for me. I think it is a serious consideration here now that J.J. McCarthy is one of the top 2 or 3 Heisman Trophy candidates in all of college football. We'll see what happens with Washington, Oregon. One of their quarterbacks might be at the top. We'll see what happens tonight with USC and Notre Dame. Caleb Williams, if he loses, he could drop. I think J.J. McCarthy made some magician plays, which I'll talk about here in a second. I'm going to dive deeper on this tomorrow in our Overreaction Sunday video. So 8 straight scoring drives for Michigan, and you are watching the instant reaction Michigan 52-7 win over Indiana with your host, of course, as always, James Yoder from Chat Sports. If you like that win for Michigan, folks, go ahead and give me a like on the video. I mean, can we get to 1,000 likes on this video? That's how good this team's playing. So can you, as a fan base watching the show and just putting out the good vibes there for Michigan football, give us 1,000 likes. First instant reaction. So I've got 5 instant reactions for you. First instant reactions is J.J. McCarthy absolutely can win the Heisman. I think there were 2 plays today that we're going to see repeated on highlights all season long as not necessarily his Heisman moments. You're not going to get those, until you see a game against Penn State or Ohio State, Big Ten championship game maybe, or if Michigan gets in a dogfight perhaps against Purdue or even Michigan State or Maryland. But in general, where he rolled out and passed, pointed Colston Loveland downfield, got the cornerback to commit to him. Loveland goes open deep. McCarthy hits him. Colston cuts in, etc., breaks a tackle, touchdown, Michigan on that one. Then a little bit later, I think this one was actually right before half, if I recall correctly, he's running from the center of the field towards his left. So he's going to run away from his body. And instead of turning his whole body to throw it, he just, Patrick Mahomes, front flips it. Brett Favre-esque. It's just something you can't teach. Reminded me a lot of like a Johnny Manziel, at least on the field, not off the field, of course. And I think those 2 plays are going to start getting in the feeds and really open up the mind of some of these people across the country who project Heisman Trophy winners, even vote for the Heisman Trophy, that haven't had McCarthy in their top 5, or hell, even their top 10. Some cool stats from this game just overall. Now, I told you a few days ago, Michigan with 19 straight Big Ten wins. Boom! Tie the program record from 1990 to 92. 19 straight. Ties the program record. They can beat the program record. 20 straight Big Ten wins Saturday in East Lansing against Michigan State. Also, the first time Michigan's had 50-point games in back-to-back matchups against Big Ten teams. So 50 straight, 2 straight games against Big Ten teams. First time in 48 years since 1975. That's a wild one. That seems, kind of out there. I thought they would have done it plenty of times since then. Also, you may have saw me tweet this out there at James Yoder on Twitter. Michigan is now 93-0 advantage, 93-0. They have outscored their opponents in the third quarter through 7 games this season. I mean, that is just absolutely absurd. I don't know if I've ever seen a more dominant stat, potentially in the history of college football. J.J. McCarthy, now 14-0 as a starting quarterback, as I mentioned on a show a couple days ago. He's got a chance to be the winningest quarterback starting your career in Big Ten history. As far as I've got it, and I've gone back 50 seasons now, Justin Fields starting off 16-0 is the record holder. So JJ should be able to tie that in Purdue in 3 weeks from now. Michigan State bye week, Purdue break that record against Penn State if the Michigan gets the win in Happy Valley on November 11th. How about the Don? Donovan Edwards, Preston Yoder is happy. I went across the street to his friend's house. He stopped watching at halftime with me, and I told him, so it's his birthday Friday, turned 7 years old, so we're going to get him a pre-birthday The Don present. We've been making deals all season long. Donovan Edwards just let him down, but Preston is going to get himself a present. We're going to go shopping tomorrow because The Don, his favorite player, scored a touchdown. Roman Wilson with another touchdown after not scoring one last week. He has now 9 for the season. He's going to make a run here over the next 5 regular season games, Big Ten title, postseason. Michigan could have potentially 8 more games Roman Wilson's going to make a run at a lot of Michigan and Big Ten receiving records for touchdowns. But let me know what you guys think. Grades Michigan's overall team play today against Indiana. I'm giving them an A. Could give an A+, but that first quarter, 3 sacks was still a little rough. So give me an A, B, C, D, or F. You can use pluses, you can use minuses, whatever you guys want. Let me know down in the comments. I'll let you pin this comment right below the video. Make it easy. Just reply to that one. Now, you guys might have seen I've been playing PrizePicks all season, and Roman Wilson only had 20 yards receiving. So my 61 yards on that one was not going to win either way. What was it? It was 61 and a half. But how about this one? I don't know if you can see that. J.J. McCarthy, I showed it on the show a few days ago, 222.5 yards. I went more on that. I thought Michigan was going to throw a little more. Maybe it was the blowout and the potentially the rain and the wind today that they didn't throw as much. But he was on pace for 300-plus yards at halftime. So he got 222 yards. PrizePicks had him at 222.5. So if that would have been make or break for me from losing or winning $50, I would have been pretty bummed. But Roman Wilson was 61.5. I went more on that one. Been playing PrizePicks all year. I'm going to play it again with the NFL tomorrow. All you got to do is pick more or less for your favorite college players, NFL players, hell, NBA, Major League Baseball. It's super fun. There's all kinds of different ways you can say, like, oh, J.J. McCarthy and Kyle McCord will combine for 530 yards or combine for 4.5 touchdowns, more or less. Super easy to play, super fun to play. You can pick as few as 2 players all the way up to 6. If you do 6, like 25 times your money, you put in $5, you win 125. Get a $100 deposit match when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS. That's our code and our URL. Code CLNS when you deposit. $100 deposit match. Put in 100, get an extra 100, and play daily fantasy a way that I think is super fun, super easy. You're not playing against a bunch of pros, people spending their entire week. You just go and play really against yourself and the predictions that they have for you. I've been playing it every single week this season, Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday, Saturday, and I've had a ton of fun using it. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Caleb Williams tonight, 310 yards. I said less on that one. I'll see how it does, but that won't matter because Roman Wilson only had 20 yards. But had Caleb Williams come down to that, if I would have lost because of J.J. McCarthy's half yard, that would have been pretty brutal. Number 2 overreaction is the defense. It is just getting better and better and better and better. 4 fumbles or 4 turnovers for us today. Could have been 5. There was a fumble late, I think, on that last drive that Michigan should have recovered, jumped on it, and then the ball just squirted out of there. 7 points. He gave up 7 early on really what was a kind of a trick play, a screen pass and a second pass there. And after that, it was nothing. And I'm not sure you can expect much. It's Indiana. I get it. Okay. I know Michigan hasn't played a very tough schedule, but you've only given up 47 points through 7 games, folks. That's just crazy. 6.7 points per game so far after 7 games. I'm not sure if I've seen anything like it from a Michigan football team, from a Big Ten team in a long time. And they're about a better pace now than the 1997 team. This defense continues to get better and better. That's my number 2 instant reaction. Number 3 is offensive line seemed to struggle really early in the game. Give up 3 sacks in the first quarter, 4 sacks in the game, I think it was. And even though J.J. McCarthy made a lot of plays, I talked about the Donovan Edwards flip pass. I talked about the Colston Loveland pass. McCarthy also had another touchdown on 4th down to Roman Wilson. It didn't seem like Michigan's passing game in the pocket was that successful, overly successful today. And the running game, I do think it kind of still struggled, which I'll talk about here in a second. So Carson Barnhart was one guy I noticed from initial look on film that got beat a few times, especially in the first quarter. So offensive line, it seems like it's one of the best in the country, but is it just a factor of Michigan playing poor competition? I'm still uncertain about what we have with this offensive line, so their struggles early were really a head scratcher for me. Let me know what you guys think about the O-line down in the comment. I don't know if you saw this, by the way. Michigan State was up 24-6 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter against Rutgers, up 24-6. They gave up 21 points in the fourth, and it wasn't even really deep in the fourth. Rutgers got this right off the bat. I was just looking at it right now. It was kind of wild. It was a turnover and then a couple more touchdowns. I want to pull this up for you guys exactly and tell you what happened before I get to my number 4 and my number 5. Michigan State scored with 3 minutes 41 seconds in the third to go up 24-6. Then there was a fumble recovery for Rutgers with 13:09 left in the game, a touchdown pass with 8:30, and then another run. So I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't watch the game yet, but there was 2 touchdowns, 9 seconds apart, 8:21. Rutgers went up 27-24 and won that game. Outscored Michigan State 21-0 in the fourth quarter. Spartans lose. They stink, and Michigan goes up there for a night game on Saturday. So predict the score in this one. Michigan at Michigan State next Saturday night. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, at this point, after scoring 50 points back-to-back weeks against Minnesota and against now Indiana and crushing Nebraska the week before, I think Michigan's going to be right up there again. So I'm going to go 45-3 next weekend. It will be one of the great blowouts, maybe since the 2002 game in Michigan Stadium, which was like 49-3. Predict the score, Michigan at Michigan State. Running game is still not the same. That's my number 4 instant reaction. Benjamin Hall looked okay, looked nice out there in the fourth quarter, but even Blake Corum got his 2 touchdowns today. I really thought they should give the one to the Don. They gave one to the Don later, thankfully. But Blake Corum, 13 carries, 52 yards. Long of 12. Okay, long of 12. Benjamin Hall, 9 carries, 58 yards. He had the long of 19. Okay, good run for him. How about the Don? 9 carries for 20 yards? A long of 5 yards for Donovan Edwards? Something's just not sitting right with Donovan Edwards this year. From a pass catching perspective, today, what did he have? 2 catches for 33. A lot of them came on that little flip from J.J. McCarthy. He had another one. But 9, long of 19 and 12. The longest run of the day, actually, folks, was J.J. McCarthy for 22 yards. McCarthy had 27 yards in the day, 10 carries for 27 yards, 4 of those on sacks, so they go against the rushing yardage. But this Michigan team in general just really struggled running the ball. All in, 42 carries, 163 yards. So that seems okay at the end of the day. I don't know. But a lot of those yards, Benjamin Hall came in the fourth quarter. Michigan only averaged 3.9 yards per carry against an Indiana team that really shouldn't be able to hold Michigan to that whatsoever. Indiana had 92 yards rushing, 140 yards passing. Michigan on the other side of that with J.J. McCarthy having 222. Jack Tuttle was 5 for 5 for 22 yards. So Michigan ends the game with 244. Total 5 for 5. So that means Michigan was 19 of 22 on the day, right up there about 90, almost 90%, about 88% on the day. So running game is still not the same. Not sure what to make of it. And I think it's going to be a concern. 3 weeks from now in Penn State, Michigan's got to run the ball better if they are going to win that game, especially what have they done the last 2 years against Ohio State? Run game, run game, run game, run game, run game. Donovan Edwards, Hassan Askin, 85 yards, 75 yards, 5 touchdowns. My 5th overreaction, my last for today before I let you go, I'll be back in the studio tomorrow with our Overreaction Sunday, is the turnover buffs, baby. These aren't the Cartier glasses that Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson were gloating about today, but Michigan with 4 turnovers. It could have been 5, right? There was a fumble in the fourth quarter that Michigan dove in the ball, but then it just squirted out and they didn't get it. Rod Moore with an interception in the red zone, which was key because that was when Indiana had a ton of momentum. Keon Saab with another interception. Mason Graham with a fumble recovery. 4 more turnovers for Michigan. They're figuring out a way to turn the ball over, this zone defense, these way they kind of mask the coverages, and then they're just getting the ball out there. Right? They're just forcing a bunch of fumbles. On the opposite side, though, J.J. McCarthy did fumble twice today himself, although Michigan recovered them. So 4 turnovers for Michigan. I've got the Yoder turnover buffs. Wear yours tonight. Keep it up. I love it. And it seems like this defense, like I said a few minutes ago, just keeps getting better and better and better, matching the most efficient, in my opinion, offense in the country with my maybe leading Heisman Trophy candidate. We'll see what happens today. I'll put my Heisman list out on Monday. Subscribe to the channel, guys. We're 28,000 subscribers strong. I will be back in the studio tomorrow, so we'll have all the graphics and everything you guys expect after this video coming up Sunday midday. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day. Check out that Notre Dame USC game tonight. Washington, Oregon on right now, and hell, Michigan State loses. So if you're in the state of Michigan, gloat to your Spartan friends who blew another one, and their team is absolutely in shambles, and Michigan's going to crush them next week. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Blue.